Yeah, this is Dave from cheapbooks.com playing World of Tanks. The tank I'm playing is the Turan 3 prototype. This is, I believe, a Hungarian Type 5 medium tank in the German tech tree, and the map is Tundra. Now, one of the things you're going to notice is that I usually go to this position because I want to flank the enemy. I want to get shots on them as they're headed across over here, and I do this frequently, and I get some good games out of it. And you'll also notice I play with the mini-map very large. And the reason why is because I keep my eye on the mini-map all the time. My eyes are glued to the mini-map during the game. So I didn't see anybody cross over. You have to check how many slow tanks they have, because the slow tanks are going to take longer to cross over. You also have to be aware of tanks that are going to be in front of you that are going to be sniping and hiding. And of course, a tank could show up at any moment.
Enemy armor is hit.
You'll notice that I took my shot and then I backed up, and the reason why is because when I go in this direction, he's going to see less of my tank, and I want him to see the least amount possible. Some people use the auto aim, and if they use the auto aim, you want to make sure that you only see the right half of their tank. If you can see their gun or the center of their tank, and you're using the auto aim, and they're using the auto aim, then they can see the center of your tank. So you want to make sure that you block that and take shots at the back of the tank.
Enemy armor is hit. Got him.
You'll also notice I hit him right by the rear wheel, and the reason why is because I try to increase the chance of setting the engine on fire. I try to hit right by the wheel for either the front wheel or the rear wheel, because the transmission has to be exactly where the axle is, even though that shot was a little high. So you can see they do have a sniper in the back. In fact, they have two.
Ready to fire. Target unlocked.
Maybe he's stuck, I'm not sure.
Penetration.
Well, he's definitely tracked now. I did get one kill. The score is 7-5. They have 3 SPGs remaining. There's a chance that one of them might be here, but it's not really that often. I don't find SPGs here that often.
Penetration. Penetration. Permission to engage. Gotcha.
Now, word of warning, these SPGs, I don't have one, unfortunately. I did not buy one when it was available, but I hear that they're very, very good SPGs, and you have to be very careful with these types of SPGs, even though they're lower tier. I don't know what tier this one is. It looks like a tier 5. They're very good SPGs, so be careful when you go up against them. They're not going to be quite as easy as some of the other SPGs. When I was mentioning before that SPGs are not here very often, and the reason why is because the hill over here, it's very difficult to hit enemy tanks on the hill. If you see on the mini-map the F1 area where the KV-1s are, it's a lot easier to hit those tanks with SPGs. And what happens is the SPGs are probably going to be on the west side of the map as opposed to the east side. And it wasn't always that way, but that's the way it is today. So I got 2 kills. There's 2 SPGs left in the game. Another thing about the Turan is that it doesn't have a lot of ammunition. You only have, I believe, 32 rounds. And it has a very fast reload. So you can go through your ammunition very quickly, and I've run out of ammo often playing this tank. And I bring a lot of high explosive rounds. And I really don't use the high explosive rounds very much in the lower tiers. But I do bring them, and there's a chance I might adjust it later.
Target acquired.
Now, obviously, you want to stay low because they're far away. They're going to be difficult to hit. When you crest the hill, your gun will be pointed in the air. So you want to go around these hills and avoid going over them. Although you can use these bushes. What I could have done is held my fire, and I could be unspotted, drive up the hill and sit in these bushes and they would not be able to see me, and then I would be able to get a first shot in.
Target unlocked.
Now, obviously,
Target acquired.
I'm taking a big chance here, rolling out in the open. Those tanks, they're not pointing their guns at me. Actually, maybe that one is. I can't see if that's his gun or not. It doesn't look like his gun. But you do have to be careful because they could easily destroy me, especially if they have very powerful guns that do a lot of damage. So you got to be careful in this type of a situation. When you're doing this, you want to head as far in that direction as possible, and you want to head for the solid cover so that it would take them a long time to hit me. If I go this way, they can hit me easily. If I'm over here near the river, it's easy for them to hit me. But if I go over here near this solid rock and up in this way, it's a far more difficult for those two tanks to go after me. Now, the other thing you want to do with SPGs is you don't want to drive forward and backwards to them. You want to drive perpendicular. And if you play SPGs, you'll understand the reason why. When the gun travels to either the far left or the far right, the tank actually has to turn because the guns don't turn all the way around. There are SPGs where the gun might turn all the way around, but on most of them they don't. So what happens is the tank will turn, and then the aim has to start over again. So when you drive in this direction, perpendicularly, they have to re-aim and re-aim and re-aim, and they're probably never going to hit you unless they sit and wait. He would have to aim in front of me where he thinks I'm going to go in order to get a good aim shot. But if I were to drive from the distance and then drive along here and get closer, his aim would be on me the whole entire time, and he would hit me very easily. Now, obviously, driving to the side or behind him prevents him from shooting at me. And what he might do is he might just ignore me and just try and get a shot in on that T1 Heavy or another target. That's what a lot of SPGs do. That's what I would do. Looks like he died. I got 3 kills. You can see that the KV-1 is spotted. I did make a change on my mini-BAP. I do have the 3 circles enabled. You have to, I don't know if they're enabled by default, but I have them enabled for the spotting range and the draw range. But I also enabled another feature which shows the mark of the tank, like the T1 Heavy, the model is what it's called, and also the tanks that have become unspotted. You'll notice that T-34 has become unspotted. He's just a red circle. I've added that feature, and I find it very useful. It's built into the game with World of Tanks 9.14. And again, I recommend making your map as large as possible. This is exactly the size I use when I play the game. And the reason why is because I'm constantly watching the map to see where my allies are going and where the enemy is going, and it works out really well.
Ready to fire. Enemy vehicle destroyed.
So I got 4 kills. When I shot at him, I used the auto aim. And there's a lot of people that don't do it. And the reason why I use the auto aim is because when you see the tank, you have to move the mouse over the tank. But it's very difficult to get the mouse exactly in the center. Like, I might move the mouse and it would be over here too far to the right. And if you do that, there's a chance that your shot's just going to miss. It could go over, it could go to the right, it could go low. And obviously, if you miss on the left, you could miss on the left, you could miss on the bottom. You want to aim directly for the center of the tank. It's the rear of the tank. All the armor's weak. He's the same tier as me, and I ran out of regular rounds. I've been firing the APCR rounds for my last few shots. I should not have used them against the artillery, but that's irrelevant. So what I do is, as I move the mouse near the tank, and as soon as it's highlighted, I click the other button, which automatically snaps it to the center. It moves it to the center faster than I would do it manually, and it keeps it locked on. So as he keeps on moving, it keeps on the center, and if he suddenly stops, it will always be in the center, and it increases the chance that I'm going to hit him and penetrate.
Target unlocked.
But like I said, I am constantly turning the auto-aim on and off.
Ready to fire.
And for example, what I might do is I might highlight his tank, hit the auto-aim, which brings it back to the center, and then turn it off. So what I do is it saves time, and after I turn it off, then I will make a small adjustment, because you don't want to aim to the middle of the tank. You want to bring it a little bit down. Now earlier I was telling you that I was trying to hit where the axle is. There's an axle. This is the wheel. These wheels don't really do anything. They just keep the track aligned. It's this wheel over here with the sprockets and the front one with the sprockets that are connected to the drivetrain and the engine. You want to be able to set the engine on fire. The transmission will also set the engine on fire, and the transmission is going to be an axle that goes from the left side of this wheel to the right side of that wheel, and it's going to go right through here across the front where you see this rounded shape. Now, for example, with this wheel, right at the center is where the axle is, and what I missed with the other tank, I shot a little bit high. But what I want to do is you want to find the center of that axle and move it to the right over to here. Look at where that little green dot is between these two sprockets. You've got the center of the wheel, that's the middle axle. Move it to the right, and if you fire a shot right there and it penetrates, there's a very good chance you're going to hit that axle. And if you hit the axle, it's part of the transmission, which means you can set the engine on fire, and you can take all the hit points away from this tank with one shot. In the past, I was trying to hit the engine by aiming high. I did not have success. You know, occasionally you aim high and you set an engine on fire. If you hit the top part, looking down on the tank, high success rate. So I've been trying a new method, which is aiming low on the tank, and I've had good luck aiming low on the tank, trying to set those engines on fire. But I haven't repeated it. The first two tries, two different tanks, two different games, worked out. But after that, I haven't had a high success rate. But it's promising. I do believe that aiming low to hit the engine might be the trick, and also aiming for where the axle is. So let's move on.
Penetration. We're dead for. Everyone get out.
Now, I would like to point out that this tank is a KV-1, and mine is the Turan. The chance of me penetrating this tank is very, very low. Basically, I had that one shot on the side was my only chance of penetrating. Once he brings me the front of his tank, I have a very, very low success rate of hitting the tank. And the only thing you can do from this point onward, obviously you can try and hit the tracks, but you want to hit flat surfaces. For example, you can see right under the turret where there is a dent in his tank is a flat surface, meaning when I say flat, I mean that it's perpendicular to me, so like a wall, you're hitting it head on. You want to avoid any of these sloping surfaces. The other option is to hit him on the side or hit him in the back. There, of course, are weak spots on all the tanks. I'm not an expert on the weak spots, but they tend to be anything that's not regular armor. So if you see like a little, there's something on the right here. I can't see what it is. Let's look at the front of my tank. You can see that on the front of my tank there's two hooks on the bottom. There is a housing for a machine gun on the right. There's two of them. And there's some sort of a hatch on the left, which might be where the driver looks out or climbs in and out. Those are the weak spots on tanks. If you think you can hit them, that's where you want to aim. And believe it or not, I've hit them from long range before on some tanks. But the KV-1 in general is going to be a very difficult tank. The only thing you can do if you don't want to take him on and you really have to kill him is wait for him to focus his gun on someone else, get behind him, hit him in the rear, hit him on the side, etc. The score was 14-8, and the type of situation when it's 14-8, he's the last tank left in the game. He's got 346 hit points. The chances that I get those 346 hit points are very, very slim. So you're competing with your allies to finish off those hit points. Chances are I would not have gotten it, or if I did, maybe I could have gotten another 150. What I could have done if, obviously the side shot didn't work, is I could have tried to hide and wait for him to drive off in that direction and hit him in the rear, and I probably could have gotten 2 shots in, and I probably could have done damage if my allies didn't finish him off first. Now keep in mind, we also have 3 SPGs on our team. He's the last tank left. They're all going to be targeting him. So you also have to compete against your SPGs. So it was very unlikely that it would have made a difference. So now actually you can see this KV-1 here. He's got that gun on the right. The headlight is probably not a weak spot, but the gun on the right, the machine gun, is definitely going to be a weak spot. So that's one of the places that you can hit, and the whole entire flat surface in the front is another spot that you want to hit. The only other option is to fire a high explosive round right at his gun. And you see there's a little hole to the right of the gun. That's what the gunner looks out. So if you really don't know what to do and you have a high explosive round, hit the gun or hit that hole, and there's a good chance he won't be able to fire his gun, which will give you some extra time to come up with a plan. Okay, so this is a Turan 3 prototype. It's a Hungarian tank in the German tech tree. It's a Tier 5 premium tank. Excuse me. The map is Tundra. I got 4 kills. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.